Hey everybody, it's Commander Clyde. Welcome back to another patch notes review video. Haven't done one of these in a bit. Today is a big one. We're looking at the Great Dreamer 7.6 update with everyone's favorite squid-faced horror monster, Cthulhu. This is a big one, and it's the first thing here. There he is. There's the card art. Very menacing. And that goes right down to the ability breakdown. That we got as passive. Prey on Fear. Cthulhu breaks down the mental fortitude of enemy gods, applying stacks of torment with abilities in the final hit of his basic attack chain. On reaching 4 stacks of torment, enemies are afflicted by insanity. Additionally, Cthulhu gains magical power per nearby enemy god with insanity. Duration is 20 seconds, and he gets 25 magical power per stack. Should be noted he is in fact a guardian, mainly because he's big and he has magic. That's really the big reason. Anyway, going to his first ability, Cthulhu sends out a terrifying blast of energy, dealing damage to all enemies hit and reducing their attack speed. Enemies hit by this ability also do reduce damage to Cthulhu for 6 seconds. This ability applies 1 stack of torment. 2 if the enemy is facing Cthulhu or fears them instead if they are afflicted with insanity. Successfully consuming insanity permanently increases the base mitigation of this ability. Damage is 90 up to 270 plus 40%. Attack speed slow 10 up to 30%. Fear duration 1.5 seconds if they are insane. Damage mitigation 20% with a 10-second cooldown and 60 mana cost. The Mire. This is the second ability. Cthulhu summons a portal creating a slowing field of Eldritch Mire at the target location. While Cthulhu channels, the Mire continues to grow as the portal fires out 2 masses of corruption that hit and damage all enemies in the field. The first shot also slows enemies while the second roots them, both hits applying 1 stack of torment. Canceling the ability early stops the Mire from growing or the portal from firing additional shots. So what this is, it's an outward growing circle AoE ability. And as you channel it, it will fire the 2 shots, and also the slow field will grow bigger as you channel the ability. So damage per shot is 50 up to 230 plus 30% of your power. 10% slow corruption slow, 35%. That's if you get directly hit. Corruption slow / root duration 1 second. I believe you have to get hit by both. Yeah, you have to get hit by the second one. The Mire duration is 3 seconds after the ability is ended. Cooldown is 18, scaling down to 14. Cost is 50, scaling up to 70. Then rushing terror. Cthulhu creates 2 twisting projectiles at his sides as he unfurls his wings and charges forward, damaging and stunning and knocking away enemies hit. The projectiles follow at a slightly slower pace but travel further, damaging enemies as well. Enemies hit by Cthulhu or the projectiles gain 1 stack of torment. So it's an ability where you have 3 areas of hit. One is Cthulhu's main body, and then his wings also send out 2 projectiles that deal damage. If you hit the center of it if you hit an enemy with the center of the ability, they will be stunned for 0.4 seconds, as it says here. Damage is 80, scaling up to 240 plus 40%. The projectiles at the sides deal 50 up to 170 plus 20% of the magical power. You can hit both of these if you aim it properly. Cooldown is 16 seconds, cost is 60 up to 80. And then the ultimate descend into madness. Here is the calling card. because we are all about madness with this god. Cthulhu reveals his true form as he plunges the battlefield into, I will not attempt to butcher that name, while any enemies caught nearby are damaged. In this form, Cthulhu gains access to new abilities. Enemies near Cthulhu gain stacks of torment, increasing in pace if they are facing him. Enemies also suffer the debuff effects of Sanity Break, causing them to deal less damage to Cthulhu. Blah 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 blah. Damage 160 up to 340 plus 50% of your magical power. That is upon the activation. The ability, max health, he gets 30% more. Duration is 12 to 16 seconds. A debuff radius is 50. Damage mitigation during the initial phase. I don't know how exactly that's going to play out. 80% cooldown, 100 seconds, cost 100 mana. And then we get down to his attacks during his ultimate. We've got Sever. Cthulhu swipes down at the ground beneath him, creating 3 large projectiles. These projectiles damage enemies and apply stacking, protection, reduction, debuff. This ability does not proc item effects. Damage 130 up to 350 plus 30% of your magical power. Protection, reduction, 3%, stacking up to 5 times. Debuff 5 seconds, cooldown 1 second, cost 0. I believe you only get 1 use of this. I am not positive. They don't actually explain that. And Devastate, the second ability in his ult, Cthulhu fires a devastating blast of psychic energy that damages and knocks enemies up. Damage is 140 up to 280 plus 20%. Cooldown 5 seconds, cost 60 to 80. And I think you can use that multiple times during the thing. And then Transfuse. Cthulhu transfuses his own life force into the area around him, giving allies health, movement, speed, and power. Enemies are also hit, taking more damage the closer they are to Cthulhu. This ability damages Cthulhu for 6% of his maximum health. If Cthulhu is below 20% health, this ability does not damage Cthulhu, but all ally effects are reduced by 50%. Damage is 120 up to 200. Ally healing is 10 up to 14% of their max health. Is it yours or theirs? Not sure. Does not specify. Power power buff 20 up to 40. Movement speed 20%. Duration 3 seconds. Cooldown 6 seconds. Cost 70. And like as with the two, I think you can get more than one cast of this. I am not positive of that though. And of course, if you guys want to know that, you'll have to stick around until Friday when the PTS is up, and I will be sure to have a gameplay video out for you guys. It should be a good time. So, intent with this god, he's an aggressive guardian like Jormungandr. He's got a bit more crowd control actually than Jorm does that he can use, because he's got a slow and a stun and a fear and a root and all those things. And then the ult also has a ally buff down here, so he's a lot more support like than Jormungandr was, but of course you can use him in a similar aggressive way that you would Jormungandr. Possibly take him to solo. Some of the abilities are not the greatest thing when you're fighting a tanky single target, but I mean, hey, you know, you can use him in solo. You might as well try that. There's a bunch of skins down here. We're not really gonna talk about those, but Abraham Lincoln though. Update release schedule June 2nd. June 16th will be Cthulhu. It's gonna be a while, because that is a big thing. And then bonus content from 7.6 on June 30th. Dates are tentative. Project Olympus. I don't really waste my time looking at this because it's usually UI stuff that I really don't care about. because it's not interesting. Bug fixes, whatever. Now let's look at the god bugs at least. Heimdall fixed an issue where Heimdall would be granted permanent vision. I thought they already did that. What? Nike fixed an issue where Nike was not knockback immune while channeling barrier formation. Baba Yaga fixed Elder Jin. Baba Yaga using base FX on basic attacks. Fixed an issue where she would T-pose while Titans were dying. Oh, so that's in the post-game scene when the Titan dies. Balance live with Great Dreamer. Arena assists on enemy minion deaths now deduct tickets from the opposing team. Previously, last hit was required to deduct a ticket. Visual changes, environment, NPC art. All environment art updated to new underwater theme. Buff camps, order abyssal minions and minotaurs. And cosmic minions and minotaurs. Dual reduce level factor in respawn times by 50%. Increase match time factor by 30%. Cap maximum respawn time at 45 seconds. Okay. Whatever. Doesn't really improve anything. Honestly. So that's not the problem. This Totemoku increased team-wide gold bonus to 25 gold. Okay. Item changes. Warrior's Blessing no longer provides 3 flat damage reduction. Now provides plus 10 magical and physical protection. Decrease health and mana heal from 40 to 25. When the health and mana heal trigger, the target hit will take 25 true damage. Interesting. This damage occurs only once per ability. Opt Warriors has been adjusted to match the changes made to Warrior's Blessing. So that's interesting. I like that because it kind of debuffs gods that are using this and Glad Shield because they're not getting as much of a benefit from warriors necessarily. So they do get protection, but hey, you know, that's fine. They decrease the healing, which I think is the bigger thing here. Gods with built-in sustain should be a little bit better then, because of that. Baron's Brew now stacks in duration, but is cleansed upon entering the fountain. The behavior matches health and mana chalice. Kana decreased from 700 to 650 gold. Tier 2 and Tier 3 item costs are unchanged. Golden Blade decreased cost from 2200 to 2000. Increased attack speed from 15% to 2000 to 20%. Hello. So the thing with that, of course, is this item's not really getting purchased a whole lot. There's only certain situations where it's really good, so they just want people to use it more. I mean, you know, I'm okay with items just not being used. It's fine. You don't necessarily have to play with them just to get them used. And because tier is some nonsense, they're gonna nerf movement speed generally. Which, yeah, it doesn't say that here, but come on, we know why this is happening. Traveler's shoes and Talaria boots have their movement speed decreased from 25 to 22%. Wing blade 7%, so it's like katana tree now. Wing blade down to 7%, relic to 7, toxic blade to 7%, 7%, 7% on all of these. They used to have 10% movement. Muzen Cobb often buzzes around meta consideration, flying into the spotlight of small shifts. Since his last round of nerfs, however, he has struggled to find that type of opportunity. High placement is key to a lot of his strength. In highly mobile fights, he can often find himself outside his network. A reduced cooldown on Hive and boost to Swarm's overall scaling will give him stronger sting while team fighting. Bees was nerfed to 5 base damage a few patches ago, but upon closer inspection, it seems like the nerf was not implemented. Rather than implementing the change and nerfing him now, we plan to fix the text. Okay. Whatever. Actually doing 9 base damage like it did before. Hive decreased cooldown. I don't like that because it gives you so many stat buffs. It's an ability you need to think about when you're using it. And Swarm increased selling from 70% to 80. Baba Yaga. This chaotic witch has been stirring up some trouble since her last round of buffs while still underperforming. In what respect? She is much closer, and we expect as players are able to explore her kit without as many bugs, we will see her rise some more. We do, however, want to further improve her usability to aid this process. Home Sweet Home has a minimum range to prevent throwing a witch firebolt directly underneath her. We are decreasing this so players who are directly on Baba Yaga can still be threatened. She can also now move at full speed in all directions, which can make her an equal threat while retreating. She is chasing. That's interesting. Give her the Medusa treatment. Finally, Blast Off could be interrupted and go on cooldown before providing any effect. It is being updated to provide benefits immediately, providing more reaction for Baba Yaga and preventing it from going on cooldown before it has done something. Okay. So, apparently, Medusa treatment, which is, what is the point of Medusa's passive unless it's been changed now? I guess they're like, she's got a magic cauldron that flies around, so why would he get a movement penalty for going backwards? I don't know. Whatever. Creeping cabin. Just the passive fixed an issue where players are not colliding with the cabin. This is intent. Player movement should be blocked to prevent hiding in the cabin at all times, but projectiles should pass right through. Home Sweet Home. Decrease minimum firing range from 10 to 4. Baba Yaga is now immune to backpedal and stray penalties while inside her cab. Oh, it's while inside the cabin. See, they didn't really specify that. Blast Off now is knockback immunity and damage reduction during pre-fire. Kronos. When Oleron was released, his basic attack projectile speed was set to 110, matching Hunters. We are making the same change to Chronosoul and Freya. This should help their basic attacks feel more Hunter-like and create a consistent playstyle across the world. Kronos has separately been underperforming, seeing a drop of variety at skill levels. We wanted to highlight a strength of his in lane boxing. Accelerates immediate burst of speed, gives Kronos flexibility when it comes to boxing with a small buff. With become a stronger, and with a small buff will become a stronger and more defining strength thing. The typos throw me off, man. I don't know why. Increase basic attack projectile speed from 100 to 110. Increase initial movement speed from 15 to 20% on accelerate. Now I'm gonna have to figure out how to hit autos again on this god. Fenrir. Why? It's already a stacked ability, dude. That thing's got damage. I don't know. What is the point of this? You just want to make his early game more annoying? I don't... Why? There's no purpose to this. And then whatever. Same thing as earlier. Ganesh, hitting God with Turn of Fate provides 2 stacks of the damage buff. Okay. Guan Yu's passive encourages constant fighting once it has become active, but doesn't convey the information needed to make smart combat decisions. Well, use your brain. Guan Yu will now slightly flash as this passive is going to fade to let Guan Yu players know if they are about to lose the effect. Look at the pass. I guess there is no feedback on when the passive goes away. It's not like Naja's. But... So let me turn my brain off, I guess. This god's update, goddesses. I can't say this because YouTube would not like it. Isis update. We'll cut that out. Actually, I can leave it in. These videos aren't monetized anyway right now. During last year's mid-season pushed her to the top. For some time afterwards, we repeatedly nerfed her, and today she struggles to have a strength that allows her to stand out among other mages. We are reverting a nerf to Wind Gust with the focus of her early pressure being her standout strength. Wing Gust increased damage from 30 to 110 up to 35 to 115. I mean, I guess that's 20 more damage. So, that's pretty good. Nemesis has certainly had the scales stacked against her lately. Even after recent buffs, we failed to see much movement in her metrics, and player feedback was clearly unsatisfied with the changes. We are adding quite a bit of potency to her passive, making each single stack significantly more impactful. Scales of Fate increase power gained and power loss from 5% to 7%, decrease max stacks from 4 to 3. Used to gain 20% in 4 hits, now gains 21% in 3 hits. Hey, that's pretty good. I guess I always felt like Nemesis is in a spot where you could play her in solo, which is kind of a weird thing, but she's got decent damage. Her passive's good against tanky gods. She's got Retribution, which is a really handy ability. Heals and gives you a shield. And then, of course, the ultimate takes more protections off. So it's like, why would you not try to play her in solo? You could. You know. It's like she doesn't have the CC, really, for jungle. It's like she could be a situational solo laner. Which is still tough because, again, the lack of crowd control. Team fight's kind of awkward. It's going to be... But, I mean, it's kind of like Osiris a little bit into his late game team fights. He's very single target focused. And doesn't have an overwhelming amount of crowd control. So, I think she fits that position well. I don't know, maybe people just need to figure out a different way to use her. Anyway, the clay soldiers have taken notes from Artemis Tusky and are coming to the battleground with some smarter tactics. The increased range is the only direct buff, allowing the soldiers to more reliably charge when Nuwa marks someone at max range. Outside of this, they will be more responsive to enemies entering combat range, won't get stuck trying to attack, and can more quickly face and charge their enemies. Sticking closer to the targets will also assist lining up the Shining Metal combo. Increased charge range from 25 to 30, fixed an issue where clay soldiers would not recognize players entering their line of sight for a significant amount of time. Fixed an issue where clay soldiers would attempt a basic attack rather than charge. Fixed an issue where clay soldiers would become stuck attempting to basic attack when they should be charging. Clay soldiers now rotate much more quickly, allowing them to change their targets faster. Clay soldiers will now try to stay closer to their targets. I mean, their AI is very similar to minions, which kind of makes them better to manage, easier to manage. Tusky's AI is made differently, so he doesn't respond nearly as efficiently. Of course, there's still improvements to be made there. Who knows? And then Soul, we saw this earlier. And then increased magical power bonus from 0.8% to 1%. Just want them to be able to fight hunters directly better now. It's really all these changes are for. Terra has a large windup for her first basic attack, which made utilizing her passive difficult. We want to make it a stronger option for players who are skilled at utilizing this passive to weave in and out of combat. But I mean, like, she's big and she's got a bunch of rocks on her. Like, it's supposed to be slow, right? That makes sense. Decreased pre-fire time for the first basic attack of her changed from 0.5 to 0.3 seconds. Post-fire has been increased from 0.5 to 0.7 seconds to ensure the basic attack is still 1 second. I'd have just left it where it was. But, you know, I don't see the point of this if it's still the same length and then the post-fire is longer by the same amount. Anyway, Zhang had a short period of complete meta dominance, which resulted in a rather heavy nerf to his passive and his tankiness. This has harmed Zhang Kui's identity as a battle mage, and meta shifts since then have pushed his metrics even further down. We feel comfortable at this point to completely revert this change, hoping that this mage can be more than just a ghost of the past. Stop with your puns. The Demon Bag decreased max souls from 60 to 40, increased magical power and physical protection per stack from 0.5 to 1. Total protections increased from 30 to 40. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is going to do it for 7.6, The Great Dreamer. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Like and subscribe if you did. Leave a comment down below if you want. As always, check the helpful links down in the description. don't forget that there should be Cthulhu gameplay on Friday once the PTS is out, so stay tuned for that. And I'll see you guys next time for some more Smite. Have a good one.